Hi, everyone. Welcome again to Ivy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Well, this is the week of the lunar year, and we are starting our first lesson here with the world's youngest astronomer.
好，我们的中文标题是8岁女童成为史上最年轻天文学家。好 ，Astronomer 就是天文学家。
Now, there are two lessons today, actually. These are sort of half lessons. This first one is about astronomy, and the second one will be about climate change. I'll read through our first, the world's youngest astronomer lesson, and then, of course, we'll go back and translate and explain each and every sentence. With a love for Star Wars movies, rockets, and space, 8-year-old Nicole Oliveira from Brazil is destined to do great things in astronomy. She's been called the world's youngest astronomer because she has discovered 18 asteroids in total. Starting at the age of 5, she began attending seminars and talking to the biggest astronomers in her country. Oliveira joined Asteroid Hunters, a NASA-affiliated program that encourages young learners to make discoveries on their own. As soon as she started, Oliveira stunned others in the program by finding 7 asteroids. Her teacher has given her rave reviews, saying that she has an eye for making new discoveries and can quickly find anything that looks like an asteroid.
Wow. So she's an observant person and knows how to look at things in detail.
Yeah, observant 就是很有观察力的，很具有观察力的。
And that's exactly what you need to be an astronomer because you spend so much time looking up at tiny, tiny things that are basically indistinguishable from each other.
因为你天文学家，你常看到的是很多东西是 indistinguishable， 就是很难辨别的啊，看起来像外行人看都一样啊，这些星星看起来都一样啊，但是一个 astronomer 他就能看出来，有什么不同的地方。
So with a love for Star Wars movies, say no more. Star Wars movies are awesome. Rockets, which are, giant missiles that carry people into space. Yeah. Missiles that carry people into space. And space. When we say space, by the way, don't say the space.
Good point.
Because if you say the space, you're talking about a specific place. Like, oh, I love the space here. Like, I love how your living room is arranged. Or we have a really good, the space in the gallery is amazing. Something like this. But if you say space without the, then you're talking about outer space.
And the other word that I often hear with a the that shouldn't have a the is the nature.
Exactly.
Yeah, space and nature do not need the. And it's the same reason, because it is a word that represents the concept. Most of the time, we use the plural form of the word to do that. However, there is only one outer space, and there is only one nature.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can't say natures or spaces.
好，所以 nature 跟 space 这两个字各位可以一起学哈，就是 space 指太空，然后呢 nature 指大自然的时候，它们都是不能加冠词的啊，因为它代表的是那个概念啊，那也不能加 s 啊，因为只有一个太空，我们也只有一个大自然啊，这第一个要注意。那第二个呢，我们看到这个句子，他讲到说他有一个爱，他爱的是什么呢？星际大战这个电影，好，那他还喜欢 rockets， 喜欢火箭。还喜欢 space 太空。
So this 8-year-old Nicole Oliveira from Brazil. By the way, the reason there's dashes between 8 and year and old is we're turning all of that into an adjective and we're linking it together to make it clear. Some people don't think you need the dashes, but you definitely don't want to say 8 years old because it's an adjective. So the 8-year-old Nicola Oliveira from Brazil is destined to do great things. That's a good phrase, by the way. If you're destined to do great things, we expect you're going to be really cool when you're older. And in this case, she's going to do them in astronomy.
好，所以 is destined to do something 啊，或者 is destined to 如何，就表示命中注定要怎么样啊，通常是蛮伟大的事情啊。 那我们再回来看到，他这里提到 8-year-old 啊，这个 Nicole Oliveira， 那 8-year-old 是一个形容词啊，复合形容词，所以要用 hyphen 把它连起来，而且因为是形容词，所以 year 不要加 s。好，那这个 8-year-old 中间那个 hyphen 呢，有的人觉得不需要加啊，但是我们给各位建议，你还是把它加啊，因为加了会很清楚，而且让你的读者便于阅读啊。好，所以呢，这一个8岁的这个 Nicole Oliveira 啊，他是来自于巴西啊，也就是他是巴西人。那他命中注定他要有一些伟大的成就哈 ，do great things 啊，会做一些很伟大的事情啊，在天文学方面。
But remember, Nicole is 8 years old because that's a noun phrase. That's not an adjective phrase. So we can say 8 years old, but only as a noun.
And
Here
only after the verb, right? Nicole is 8 years old.
Right.
Yeah. 那不过要注意，如果你是用讲某人 is， 然后呢 8 years old， 这个时候呢 years 就要加 s， 而且不能用 hyphen 哈，因为这是表示它是8 years old 哈，这样子，它是一个属于补语哈，所以跟这里的形容词用法不一样。
She's been called the world's youngest astronomer because she has discovered 18 asteroids in total. While there are possibly millions, certainly hundreds of thousands of asteroids, but they are really hard to find because they're so small. They are found mainly between the planets Jupiter and Mars.
In the Kuiper belt.
Yes. Between Jupiter and Mars are the ones closest to Earth, and it's believed one of those many, perhaps millions of these space rocks, basically that's what they are, they're space rocks, is the one that ended the dinosaur age 65 million years ago. It got out of that ring around the sun and headed for Earth and bullseye.
好，所以呢，我们看到他说 she's been called， 就他被称为，大家都叫他，好，称他为世界上最年轻的天文学家。为什么呢？因为他已经发现了18个小行星啊 ，asteroid 就是小行星啊。那这个Bruce 老师刚刚解释，他大概在木星跟火星之间，好，大概最容易看到这个小行星，但它们数量非常的多。
So she's already been working as an astronomer, as a junior astronomer for a while, because she started at the age of 5. So our sentence says, starting at the age of 5, she began attending seminars. Seminars are like long classes over several days, and talking to the biggest astronomers in her country. So she has been knocking around with the astronomy bigwigs for 3 years. She's been getting the real education.
Yeah， 好，所以我们刚刚讲，他总共他已经发现了18个小行星啊 ，in total 就是总量多少。然后呢，接下来告诉你说 ，starting at the age of 5， 他5岁的时候开始哈 ，starting at the age of 5， 他开始怎么样 ？attending 参加 seminars 就是研讨会或者座谈会。然后呢 ，and talking， 那为什么会 talking 呢？因为这 talking 也是跟那个 began 来的。所以 began 2件动作，一个是 began attending， 然后呢 and began talking， 他也开始跟谁谈话呢？跟谁对谈呢？跟这些 biggest 就是最大牌的啊 astronomers in her country， 跟他国家里面最大牌的、最重要的那些天文学家，好，他5岁就开始跟他们对谈了。
Oliveira joined Asteroid Hunters, a NASA-affiliated program that encourages young learners to make discoveries on their own.If you are affiliated with someone or something, then you are connected to that
organization. Or endorsed by.
Supported or endorsed by also. The program encourages, it lets young learners or people interested in something, it encourages them to continue with their work or reading, in this case, her discoveries of asteroids on their own. Each individual is encouraged. It's almost as though they're being tutored by professionals.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, 好，所以呢，这个 Oliveira 她怎么样呢 ？joined 她加入了这个 Asteroid Hunters， 这个叫做小行星猎人计划。 那童维格告诉你，这是一个什么计划呢？这是一个 NASA affiliated affiliated 就是 connected to 跟谁有关，隶属于什么，或者是像刚刚 Angel 老师讲的这个 or endorsed by。好 ，endorse 就是由谁所支持啊？那 endorse 的拼法是 endorse， 好 endorsed。好，所以是 NASA 它所支持的，或者是它隶属于 NASA 的一个 program。那这个 program that 就是指这个 program， 它怎么样呢？它 encourages， 它会鼓励 young learners， 鼓励年轻的一些学习的人、学习者哈。干嘛呢 ？encourage somebody to do something， 它鼓励这些 young learners 去 make discoveries， 去做一些发现 on their own， 就是 by their own efforts， 就是他们自己靠自己的努力去做一些天文上面的发现。
As soon as she started, Oliveira stunned others in the program by finding 7 asteroids. So she's found 18 in the last 3 years, but when she started, she almost immediately found 7. It's really hard to find even one. So she stunned everyone else. To stun somebody is to surprise them to the point of that they can't move. That's what it means. I mean, they obviously didn't really stop moving, but if you're stunned, you stop for a second like, din, din, din. Oh.
Yeah.
It could be a good or a bad thing, depending.
Yeah, 所以这个 stun 就是使某人目瞪口呆。好，那刚刚 Angela 讲到这个概念，就是让他暂时都定住了啊，都惊吓到哈，所以可能是好事，可能是坏事哈。所以呢，他这里讲到说 ，as soon as she started， 他一开始之后呢，他就 stunned others， 就让其他人目瞪口呆。好，这 stunned 有点像 shocked 那个意思，shock， 好，那让大家非常震惊啊。然后呢 ，in the program 就这个 program 这个计划里面，其他的人都为之震惊。好，为什么呢 ？By 就是他如何让别人震惊呢？他是 by finding 7 asteroids， 他马上就发现了7个小行星。
Her teacher has given her rave reviews. The teacher cannot say enough good things about her, saying that she has an eye. She has this ability, she has a special ability that most other people don't have for making new discoveries, for finding new things, and can quickly find anything that looks like an asteroid. She's trained herself to locate or find or recognize little points of light in the sky, either with a telescope or taking a picture. And then night by night, this is how Pluto and Neptune were found. The Neptune is the furthest out planet, and Pluto is another body even farther away than Neptune. They were found by people being very patient over a long period of time and noticing that dots of light in the sky over a period of time would move. Stars don't move during a human lifetime. They seem to be static without any motion at all. Anyway, to have an eye for this sort of thing is quite rare. Most people don't get it or are not interested in it. But this young lady has an eye for it. She's really, really naturally good at it.
好，所以这里讲到说 her teacher has given her rave reviews. 好，所以 give somebody rave reviews 就是对某人大加赞扬，好，高度的赞扬，好，就是给这个赞赏有加，叫做 give somebody rave reviews. 好，那 reviews 就是对于他的评价非常的高，那 reviews 在这里就是评价。那他的老师说呢，他 has an eye for doing something。那英文里面讲说 has an eye for something， 就是表示对什么东西独具慧眼。好，所以他对于什么东西独具慧眼呢？他对于 making new discoveries， 对于天文上的新发现，他是独具慧眼啊。那刚刚 Bruce 老师有讲，这种通常一般人可能不会注意到，但是这个对于天文的这些观察者，他会长期的关注，他就会注意到，这个东西有在动或者怎么样的哈。所以这个需要很大的观察力啊，很强的观察力，也要有这个某些技术哈，那某些知识等等的。好，所以他独具慧眼。那他可以很快的 quickly find 任何的东西 that looks like an asteroid。好，他可以很快的发现任何一个东西，只要看起来像这个小行星，他都会注意到。
Okay, let's flip the page and take a look at our second short article. autumn activity threatened by climate change.
好，我们的中文标题是秋日美景不再，气候变迁影响枫红。
Okay, please listen carefully, and I'll read through the whole article first, a news report, and then we'll go back again sentence by sentence. First, rising tides threatened people living on coastlines. Then, weather catastrophes wreaked havoc on forests all over the world. Now, climate change is affecting an autumn activity loved by all, taking in the changing colors of leaves. Ecologists warn that there are 3 threats to leaf viewing. The first is that when droughts happen, leaves won't get enough nutrients. This will cause them to turn brown and wither before changing colors. The second problem is heat waves. These can cause leaves to drop to the ground before fall. The third way in which leaves are threatened is by extreme weather. If hurricanes or typhoons happen later in the year, then the leaves can be blown off the trees in certain areas. If you love going out in nature and seeing trees changing colors in September or October, then you should be doing your part to help fight climate change.
So, first, we're just jumping right into it. There's no there's no nice story to smooth the way. We're just like, listen, first, rising tides threatened people living on coastline. And then we go on to the next one, then something, something, and now something, something. So we're just plunging the reader straight into 3 things that they really have to pay attention. And that is a good format for this article because climate change is an emergency. And so starting off with this kind of tactic, first, then, now, you're really leading people into a sense of emergency. So if you have some really important topic and some very immediate topic, this is an excellent way to begin. So having said that, we're enumerating 3 facts that matter. And so they're not necessarily related. We're just saying, here's a list of stuff to pay attention to. So the first one is that rising tides, the fact that the oceans are getting more. It's not that the ocean levels are getting higher, or maybe they are. They are getting higher, but also because wind and wave action is much more fierce than it used to, it's also threatening people living on coastlines. So anybody who lives next to the ocean.
好，所以呢，这个地方这个开头很有趣啊，它是 first 怎样怎样 ，then 如何如何 ，now 怎样怎样，给你感觉有那种应接不暇的感觉，好，那个有那个蛮紧急的、蛮迫切的那种感觉。好，那这篇文章讲的是气候变迁，所以这样的一个开头啊，相当的效果相当的好啊。所以 first 首先是什么什么啊？首先发生了什么事情呢？好，是 rising tides 啊，就是这个往上升的潮水 ，tides 就是潮水 ，threatened people 威胁到人们，哪些人们被威胁到呢？是 people living on coastlines， 住在海岸线上的人啊，因为海水海水现在越来越高了，那他们就受到了威胁啊。先是这样子，然后他接下来交代 then 啊，先已经这样，已经够糟糕了，然后又出现了什么什么，好，让你觉得应接不暇。
Then weather catastrophes, these are disasters, wreaked havoc on. They destroyed or severely affected forests all over the world. Temperatures that were too hot, forest fires, there were many problems having directly to do with a changing climate. A lot of forests in the north are not used to very, very hot temperatures for a long period of time.
好，然后呢 then weather catastrophes 好，气候方面的一些大灾难哈。catastrophe 通常讲的是大灾难哈，有一个跟它一样很大的一个字，也是指大灾难，是 calamity 哈 ，calamity 哈。那这两个字差别大概 catastrophe 常常感觉是 a great， 然后呢 often sudden calamity 啊，感觉常常是很突然之间 catastrophe 啊，突然灾难大灾难就降临了，那很大的灾难哈。所以这里讲到气候的大灾难。好，那怎么样呢 ？wreak havoc on 啊，各位一定要把这个片语背起来，考试常常会出现，而且一出来就这三个一起出来。好 ，wreak 这个字呢，它是造成的意思 ，havoc 是灾难。好，所以当我们讲 wreak havoc on， 就是大肆破坏啊，带来了大灾难的意思。好，所以气候上的一些大灾难，对于森林啊大肆破坏 ，all over the world， 全世界的森林都受到影响。
Now, the final fact here to really hike up your anxiety is climate change is affecting an autumn activity loved by all, taking in or experiencing the changing colors of leaves. Everybody loves looking at changing leaves. I don't know why. It's such a human thing.
It's so beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
好，然后呢 then 之后呢，现在哇更糟糕的事情出现了，就是 climate change 气候变迁 is affecting 影响到了 an autumn activity 一个秋季的活动啊 loved by all 就是 loved by all people 所有人都喜欢的一个秋季活动是什么呢？就是 taking in 就是欣赏 the changing colors of leaves 欣赏叶子颜色的变化，那这个已经受到了影响了。
Okay, our second paragraph. Ecologists warn that there are 3 threats to leaf viewing. Ecologists are people who study in the science of the balance of nature, the effects of such things as weather on plants or animals on plants or plants on animals. What are the relationships among living things as well as with natural forces? So they have found that there are 3 threats to, there are 3 serious problems for those who enjoy leaf viewing.
好，然后呢 ecologists 就是生态学家，好 warn that 他们警告说有3个 threats 威胁啊 to 对于这个leaf viewing 对于你赏叶这件事情啊有3个重要的威胁。
So we've said 3 threats, so now we're going to tell you 3 threats. And the first threat is that when droughts happen, when large areas lack enough rainfall, leaves won't get enough nutrients because there's not enough water for the plant to live healthily. So they're going to select which leaves get nutrients and which don't, because that's one strategy that a tree has for getting through not enough water. They're going to limit which parts of them get water, and they're going to let the other parts die off.
好，所以 the first 第一个 threat 是好，当 droughts happen， droughts 就是干旱，当干旱发生的时候呢 leaves 树叶 won't get enough nutrients， nutrients 就是养分，树叶就没办法得到充足的养分。
This will cause them to turn brown and wither before changing colors. This action of trees about deciding which leaves will be supported with water and nutrients and which won't, the ones who don't get enough moisture or nutrients turn brown and wither. Wither is to shrivel, is to become smaller in size before they would normally change colors.
好，那这会 cause them to 会造成他们怎么样呢？ turn brown， turn 是转为啊 ，brown 是这个它补语，就是转为褐色 brown， 然后呢会 wither 就是会枯萎 ，before changing colors， 在它改变颜色之前啊，它就枯萎了。
The second problem is heat waves. So we said there were 3 threats, and then we just said the first in the last sentence because we didn't have to say threat again. Now we can't say threat again, so we have to say it another way. So we're saying the second problem, and that's heat waves.
好，那第二个问题，好，那这个 problem 其实就是指前面的 threat， 但是英文不喜欢重复，好，所以这地方就换了一个字。The second problem 是什么？是 heat waves 热浪。
These, the heat waves, can cause leaves to drop to the ground before fall too, as well as not enough moisture. Maybe there's lots of moisture, but it's so hot. Animals and plants have certain temperature ranges where they thrive, where they live the way they were designed. When you go beyond that, then you're threatening the species.
好，所以这些可以造成叶子 drop to the ground 落到地面 before fall， 这个 fall 在这里是指秋天，所以时机还没到，还没秋天，叶子落下来了。
So the third way is not a problem, it's not a threat. We're using the word way, but it's a negative way to say way. We're using way negatively. So the third way in which leaves are threatened is by extreme weather.
好，所以第三个方法，它会受到第三个这个方式，它会受到威胁。好，它一样，它没有重复 threat 这个字，但是意思就是这样。好，第三个是怎么样？他说，在这样的这个方式，以这样的方式，树叶是受到威胁的，是什么方式呢？就是 extreme weather 极端气候。
If hurricanes or typhoons happen later in the year, later than they usually appear, then the leaves can be blown off the trees, of course, in certain areas.
好，那如果这个 hurricanes 或者是 typhoons 这两个是一样的东西，哈，就是台风或者这种这个热带风暴呢 happen later in the year， 啊，在一年比较晚的时候发生，好像最近几年常常这个已经快要到年底了还有台风。那如果是这样的情况之下，那这个树叶 can be blown off the trees， 可以被吹，从树上被吹下来。好，叫做 be blown off the trees in certain areas， 在某些地方树叶会被吹下来。
That actually happened in Wisconsin last fall. There was a couple of really large windstorms that went straight across the U.S. and they lost a lot of trees.
哇哦，这去年真的发生过了哈，这个威斯康星州真的是啊，这个因为大风暴过去之后，很多树就这样子就没有了。
So if you love going out in nature and seeing trees changing colors in September or October,So if you like looking at the colors changing, then you should be doing your part to help fight climate change.
所以呢，如果你喜欢 going out in nature， 你喜欢到大自然里面去，好，然后呢，看着树叶 changing colors， 看着它们改变颜色，好，在9月或者10月看它们改变颜色的话，那你应该要 you should be doing your part， 就是表示尽自己的责任或尽自己的本分，好 ，to help fight， 来帮忙这个对抗 climate change。Okay,
that's it for today's 2 short articles. Please join us anytime you have the time. Until the next time.
Bye-bye.